Hi guys, this is Goddess Starla Vamp, back for another segment of Ask a Dominatrix, where I answer your questions about fetish, kink, and BDSM. And someone's written, so a lot of questions around red flags in BDSM come up, but one often not talked about thing is green flags. Like, how does a sub ask to be pushed further without topping from the bottom, and more importantly, feel like they're being pushed without having to ask, define it, Because that sort of remains the thrill and growth that accompanies actually being pushed. It's a touchy subject, but it is interesting because it is real. So someone sent me this question a while ago, and I had a chance to really think about it because I didn't I didn't know the answer. And then, okay, you might not agree with me, but I would think a green flag would be when you meet someone and you get to know them outside of BDSM, because we're not just two-dimensional living in the BDSM world, we're three-dimensional people. So when you meet someone in the real world, their behavior and character traits and ego, naturally, if they're the kind of person who is the same in real life and in the bedroom, then you can start to predict what they would do in the bedroom, or, oh, they would probably like this, or this would probably appeal to them. So if you get to know them as a real person, you can maybe think about how that would slip into like a bedroom dynamic. But that's not always the case, that people are the same in real life as they are in the bedroom. A lot of people, their personality completely changes, or they want to explore something that's so different from the regular life. But I think to answer the question, if you don't want to top from the bottom, if you feel like you're always in that kind of situation, and I guess I'll speak from my own personal experience too, I would sub for people where, yeah, maybe they weren't actually so dominant and they wanted to wear a different hat. But if I would recognize that someone was just naturally dominant and that their personality didn't really change when they went to the bedroom, I found myself pushed in a way where I wasn't constantly asking, or constantly kind of trying to prep situations, and someone else was really taking the reins in like a lot of situations. And when you like that dominance, I can sympathize. It's really hard to seek that out, and seek it out in a way where it's interesting and engaging, but not like totally dangerous. And you want like the creative aspect of it. So firstly, be with a partner who wants to be dominant, who they're signing up for that, and they understand that you kind of have to write the script. That's what that is. You are the director, the script writer, and kind of like more like you're looking for your cast of actors. And so when you're playing the role of the submissive, you're kind of sliding into, it should be their script. And so a green flag is if in the real world you can you identify someone's character trait and you're like, oh, they do that, that's really hot, I bet they would do that in the bedroom, I bet they would act that certain way or get that fucking grin on their face or whatever in the bedroom. But with that said, I think if someone's like naturally dominant, and they're steering everything and pushing everything, then it's really important as a submissive to, if things go too far, you have to communicate that, because the gears are in motion and you don't want to get in over your head. Because things can get steep, and especially if you're in a situation with multiple people, like I've subbed to couples before and stuff, and it's kind of tag teaming thing, and you're not really going to be topping that much from the bottom, but you got to be quick to voice your opinion if you're like, don't do that, or don't tie me that way, or just setting boundaries along the way, because that can be the negative to not topping from the bottom. I kind of don't mind topping from the bottom personally. But a green flag is like, you just want to like someone in the first place. You just want to be attracted to them in the first place. So that's the first green flag, when you're like, he's a package. Like, he's got some swagger. Maybe he can bring that swagger into the bedroom. We'll see. It's not easy. Okay, we have another question. What is the most common misunderstanding you encounter about DS, and how do you explain it? I think sometimes I don't know, like the different kind of stereotypes of that you have to be like a really severe leather-clad mistress, just like always like pushing and whatever, tormenting your submissive, and I think kind of like the protocol, like the strict protocol, I think this kind of severe setup or whatever is a misunderstanding, and I don't like when people assume submissives are just these mindless drones playing as both a dominant and a submissive. Dominance can be really subtle, and yeah, it's performative, but you're primarily communicating to the other person, and you have a certain language with them. And spectators or whatever, your fetish friends, you're not in on the language. So there's like just little nuances of the whole thing that I think get lost, and I think overall I get kind of annoyed about what I think is kind of a disrespect for submissives. Like if they get talked down, like you're supposed to be talked down to, but like really like it's, the respect should still be there, and submissives aren't mindless drones. And I'll give you an example because it might explain it the best way. I went to like this fetish party, and it was kind of a scene that I wasn't really familiar with, and I was a submissive to a mistress, and people would always talk to her and not really engage with me, or if they were going to engage with me, it would have been through her. And it was like, it wasn't a dungeon scene, or like it wasn't a scene, it was just sort of mingling. And it kind of annoyed me because I'm like a real person and I'm a switch. And so like you can talk to me. So just getting kind of in this here or there, dominant, submissive, like the mistress is the total evil genius, total complete brains of the operation, and the submissive is just the drone robot doing on like the bottom of the food chain. And you don't want a mindless drone. Like that's not the point. The point is to engage in people's character and intellect. And I think just kind of ignoring a submissive that they actually have intelligence or they can make small talk is that's too bad. That's kind of missed opportunities to just mingle and get to know people. What is the best thing about being a dominant when owning a submissive? Um, so I think it takes a lot of self-reflection to find the answers for these kinds of things. But I realize more about myself over the years that I need the praise. I need the positive reinforcement. Like it doesn't, these things, it doesn't come from nothing. So I need someone praising me on. And there are times just when I really need to take because I feel drained. I feel lifeless and I need to re-energize. And I'm a pretty solitary person. So I can spend a lot of time by myself, but when I want to feel socially energized, I need um, a nice submissive to just rub my feet, just make me feel amazing, rub my back, just worship. And I just take. And I need to like, whatever you want to call it, like an energy vampire or something. Like I just need to take the sensation and take the pleasure. And it's like I'm drinking in their loyalty and their praise and their warmth. And I need that for a little bit to recharge. And when I don't get that, it's there's this certain kind of emptiness that can't be filled with anything else. I swear, like when I'm not getting my feet rubbed, I'm like craving it. I'm like, please fix me. I'm running on empty. I need to feel that euphoria. It's a foot rub. I need these things. So that the best thing about all that is like getting a foot rub and taking. But it's, it's increments of time and I'm not like an energy monster all the time. But every now and then, like I need the praise. What is the hardest thing about being dominant when owning a submissive? I think when you're with someone and you just can't give them what they want. It's like you're trying to meet expectation. Like you have a verbal agreement and you say, okay, I'm going to do this. And you talk about it beforehand, but when it doesn't matter how you deliver. It's just not enough and it's just not satisfying. Like I know that I drain. If I'm getting a foot rub, I'm draining, but I also feel like sometimes I'm being drained, but if they don't know what they want, it's not going to hit the spot. So all the difference is if they come in the door and they're like, I want cock and ball torture. And it's like, okay, we'll do it like that and like that and like that. But if they think they want it, or they're playing around with the idea, but they don't really know what they want, they don't really want cock and ball torture, it doesn't matter how much I try, it's just not gonna deliver. And a really important thing about BDSM and life is like, you gotta figure out what you want. And if you don't know what you want, other people aren't gonna know what you want. It could be, I don't know, it could be that. Um, so if you say you want something, but you don't really want it, but you don't know what else to say, and it doesn't work out, it's never gonna work out. And also, like, okay, this is kind of a hard thing to talk about, or like, is it's like the old saying, if you don't love yourself, then you can't love someone else. Um, so it's really important to love yourself. And when if you come through the door and you got like all this inner negative talk, like, you can't have inner self-hate and think that if you have physical pain, it's gonna like somehow whatever fix you. Like, that's not, that it's gonna validate you or whatever. It's not the right way to go about it. So these things, they need to come from a place of self-love. And when you love yourself and you know what you want, or you like come to a conclusion about something, you're gonna have better results. So I think like one of the hardest things is when, like, when people think that if they're being hurt, it's some kind of like validation or substitute for love or something. And that's just like that's not how that works. Um, it should come from a positive place. And it's not fair to the other person if you're doing things out of like self-hatred or insecurity. It's not fair to the other person, and they can feel that. And you're not going to be connecting. It's going to it's going to create a defense on the other side. So it's really important, like, just when you're being social with anybody, it should come from a good place. And I'm promoting self-love. And saying that, going with that, no one is insignificant. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible to be meaningless or worthless or insignificant, because we are all locked in to causality. There is nothing you can do to escape causality. You affect things in the world. Doesn't matter what you do, there's a domino effect. So therefore, it's impossible to be insignificant. So it's an important thing to realize what you have, your own physical limitations, and to just make the best of it that you can. To work with what you have. And that's significant enough. So someone asks, what gets you excited and really turned hot when you have a submissive toy of choice to play with, molding to my ideal submissive? A melding of fetish, kink, and vanilla lives. You've always been curious. So I see someone who is plays as a sub with me, and it's really my taste. So, like, I don't see him that often, unfortunately, but when I do, he will set things up. He'll kind of create scenarios. I know that's sort of like it should be the other way around, but like his caliber of playing and his lifestyle and who he is in the vanilla world, it's like a rare opportunity for me to walk into like a fetish fantasy, and I find it so flattering when he'll put in all this effort. It's like he'll create this, it's like an intimate fetish party, but like with just me or like a few other people, and he'll play as a submissive, but I get to walk. It's like he kind of writes the script and I get to walk in as a dominant. And it's fucking amazing because it feels like I'm walking into this fantasy world that he creates, and I know the part. I know what I'm supposed to do, and he knows me well enough that he knows what is going to appeal to me. So I'll walk in to a setting. I've never been there before, and whoops. I love this shit where you're like, okay, go to this address, go here, do there, this room, that, like you gotta kind of, it's like puzzle game or some shit where you gotta just at least find where to go, address. This is the password. Talk to this guy. I love the instructions of going somewhere, like, and it's supposed to be all mysterious, like. Really, it's just an address, but like, wow, what's the surprise? What does he have planned? Okay, take an Uber, go here. I love that shit. And then you walk in and it's like, what is this place? What is this? And then there'll be like some toys laid out on a table, and you know, like a whip or something, and like maybe little things that I'm gonna wear. So just sort of like, you know, it's a game, and it has like different levels. And I love when he takes the time to come up with this stuff, and it's really fun for him. Am I molding him into the perfect submissive? I like to think so, but it's really he's still pretty dominant, you know. It doesn't take away from my dominance. But he's not a submissive drone, you know? He's got his own intellect, his own personality. He's a sophisticated man. And yeah, it works for me. But I love when someone, you know, if they know your shoe size or they know your bra size, things like that, so they'll go and get things and they'll just surprise you. I really like that. It's like they're working behind the curtain to make a special evening. And also I love it when a submissive just they give you I know that's the idea, that they give you their undivided attention, but sometimes you're like, sometimes things can be disappointing and you're just like, what? You don't, it's just not flowing, or maybe they're thinking about their other mistress or something, you know? So it's like, even when you're spanking them, it's like, are you thinking of me spanking you? Or are you thinking of someone else spanking you? You know, like sometimes the magic isn't there. It's not a given. Like, this is reality. So it's just really nice when the person is there, they're in the moment, they're into it, and they'll bring something to the table. And I guess maybe you want to call that topping from the bottom, but whatever, it's fun and it's surprising. So I really like that. And I like it when someone's sophisticated, and I really like it where there's just these moments like you feel like they're giving you their keys of power. There. I don't think it's going to corrupt you. There's my keys of power. And you get to have them for 20 minutes, whatever. And then you have to give the keys of power back. But it was nice while it lasted. So, these are things I like in life, things I like in playing. Does it happen as often as I want, the way that I want? You know what? Reality's good. Reality's better. And it's these nice little moments. These nice moments where everything comes together in unison. And you're like topping someone with two other women or something, and you're all working like a machine. And you just like feel this sisterhood bond or whatever, and just having a really good time. And for a few minutes, it really works out and it's really fun. And then you have to go back to reality, which is hard sometimes, but damn, I've had like some good, amazing moments. Yeah.